Imagine living 100,000 years ago, never once brushing your teeth, never using dental floss, never visiting a dentist, yet having healthier teeth than most people today. This isn't some fantasy or wishful thinking. It's scientific fact. Our ancient ancestors possessed remarkably healthy teeth and gums without any of the oral hygiene tools we consider essential today. Their story reveals profound truths about human evolution, diet, and what we've lost in our modern world. If you're using this to fall asleep, that's literally why I make them. So subscribe maybe, and tell me where you are and what time. I always find it fascinating to see where everyone is from when I check the comments. What makes this ancient dental mystery so compelling? Archaeological evidence from hunter-gatherer societies shows they experienced dramatically lower rates of tooth decay, gum disease, and dental problems than modern humans. We're talking about people who lived for 40, 50, even 60 years with strong, healthy teeth that lasted their entire lives. No root canals, no crowns, no painful extractions, just naturally healthy mouths that functioned perfectly. I'm about to take you on a journey through time to discover how our ancestors maintained such remarkable dental health without any of our modern interventions. You'll learn about the revolutionary dietary changes that transformed human oral health, the natural mechanisms that kept ancient teeth clean, and the surprising ways our modern lifestyle has undermined the very foundations of dental wellness our species enjoyed for hundreds of thousands of years. This isn't just a story about teeth. It's a window into understanding human biology, the consequences of civilization, and perhaps most importantly, what we can learn from our ancestors to improve our own health today. Because here's the remarkable truth. The principles that kept ancient teeth healthy are still available to us if we understand what they were and how to apply them in our modern context. Let's begin with the most startling revelation from dental archaeology. When researchers examine the skulls and teeth of hunter-gatherer populations from around the world, they consistently find the same pattern: excellent dental health. Archaeologists say that prehistoric humans had much better teeth than we do today. The evidence is overwhelming and consistent across different continents, time periods, and populations. Studies of dental calculus, the hardened plaque that forms on teeth, have revealed something extraordinary about ancient oral microbiomes. By examining ancient dental plaque, researchers have found that prehistoric diets made for healthier mouths. The bacteria living in ancient mouths were fundamentally different from those in modern mouths, creating an environment that naturally resisted tooth decay and gum disease. Ancient humans had lower loads of harmful disease-causing bacteria and a significantly lower risk of developing tooth decay and gum disease. This wasn't just slightly better oral health. We're talking about dramatically different outcomes. While modern humans, even with regular brushing and professional dental care, commonly experience cavities, gum disease, and tooth loss, our ancient ancestors maintained healthy teeth throughout their lives. But here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. The shift from healthy to problematic teeth didn't happen gradually over millions of years of evolution. It happened relatively recently in human history, and it happened fast. The archaeological record shows a clear turning point when human dental health began to deteriorate rapidly. That turning point was the agricultural revolution, roughly 10,000 years ago. However, once farming populations expand, there's a massive change. Huge amounts of gum disease and cavities start cropping up. This wasn't a coincidence or a result of people suddenly stopping their oral hygiene practices. It was a direct consequence of fundamental changes in human diet and lifestyle that accompanied the shift from hunting and gathering to farming. The evidence from early farming communities tells a sobering story. In 68.3% of the adults, carious lesions were present, with 10.3% of teeth affected in early Neolithic farming populations from central Germany. Compare this to hunter-gatherer populations, where cavity rates were often below 5%, and the contrast becomes stark. Agriculture brought civilization, but it also brought widespread dental disease. What happened? The answer lies in understanding how teeth naturally stay clean and healthy, and how farming disrupted these ancient mechanisms. For hundreds of thousands of years, human teeth had evolved alongside specific dietary patterns that promoted oral health. When those patterns changed rapidly, our teeth couldn't adapt quickly enough to the new challenges. To understand why ancient teeth stayed so healthy, we need to examine the remarkable natural cleaning systems that operated in pre-agricultural human mouths. These weren't conscious hygiene practices, but biological and mechanical processes that maintained oral health without any human intervention. The first and most important factor was diet composition. Hunter-gatherer diets consisted primarily of fibrous plant materials, lean meats, nuts, seeds, and seasonal fruits. Fresh fruit and vegetables. These fibrous powerhouses act like natural toothbrushes, scrubbing away other food particles that might cause problems. Every meal effectively cleaned the teeth through mechanical action. Think about what happens when you eat an apple or chew on fibrous vegetables. The physical action of processing these foods requires extensive chewing, and the rough textures scrape against tooth surfaces, removing food particles and preventing plaque buildup. Ancient humans were essentially brushing their teeth with every meal, using the natural abrasiveness of their food to maintain clean tooth surfaces. But it wasn't just mechanical cleaning. The chemistry of ancient diets created oral environments hostile to harmful bacteria. Hunter-gatherer foods were low in simple carbohydrates, the primary fuel source for cavity-causing bacteria like Streptococcus mutans. Without abundant sugars and processed starches to feed on, these harmful bacterial populations remained small and manageable. The ancient oral microbiome was dominated by beneficial bacteria that actually protected teeth and gums. These microorganisms formed protective biofilms, competed with harmful species for resources, and produced compounds that helped maintain proper pH levels in the mouth. It was a balanced ecosystem that had evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to maintain optimal oral health. Saliva played a crucial role in this system. The constant chewing required by fibrous, ancient foods stimulated abundant saliva production. Saliva is nature's mouthwash, containing enzymes that break down food particles, minerals that remineralize tooth enamel, and antibacterial compounds that control harmful bacteria. Ancient humans produced much more saliva than we do today, creating a continuous self-cleaning system. The pH balance in ancient mouths was also fundamentally different. Modern processed foods especially those high in sugars and refined carbohydrates, create acidic conditions that promote tooth decay. Some bacteria, such as Streptococcus mutans, convert fermentable carbohydrates to form acids. An increase in acidity might favor the demineralization of tooth enamel. Ancient diets maintained more neutral pH levels, creating environments where teeth could naturally remineralize and repair minor damage. Interestingly, some ancient populations did have natural tooth cleaning practices that archaeologists have discovered. New research shows that for one ancient people, this noxious plant may have served as a tooth cleaner, referring to purple nutsedge used by ancient Sudanese populations. One common method involved using sticks or twigs with frayed ends, known as chew sticks or miswak, to scrape off food particles and dental plaque. These practices weren't universal among hunter-gatherers, but they demonstrate that some ancient populations did recognize the need for mechanical tooth cleaning in certain circumstances. However, these were supplementary practices, not essential ones. The vast majority of dental health maintenance happened naturally through diet and lifestyle. The seasonal variation in ancient diets also played a role in dental health. Unlike our modern consistent access to the same foods year-round, hunter-gatherers experienced dramatic seasonal changes in available foods. These variations prevented any single type of harmful bacteria from becoming dominant and created natural cycles of oral microbiome diversity. During certain seasons, ancient humans consumed foods that were particularly beneficial for dental health. Spring greens, rich in vitamins and minerals, supported gum health. Summer berries provided antioxidants that reduced inflammation. Fall nuts supplied minerals essential for tooth remineralization. Winter reliance on preserved meats and stored foods created different oral environments that further contributed to microbiome diversity. But here's something that might surprise you about ancient dental health. It wasn't perfect. Archaeological evidence shows that some ancient populations did experience dental problems, but these were typically related to specific environmental factors rather than systemic dietary issues. But apparently, these ancient people had a thing for acorns. Acorns, says Humphrey, are high in carbohydrates. They also have quite a sticky texture, so they would have adhered easily to the teeth. This research from ancient hunter-gatherers in North Africa shows that even within traditional diets, certain foods could cause problems when they became dietary staples. Without toothbrushes, without dental floss, that diet rotted their teeth. Eventually, the tooth crowns wore away, says Humphrey. They were eating on the polished roots of their teeth. I think they would have been in pain. This demonstrates that the relationship between diet and dental health was complex even in ancient times. Tooth wear was actually much more common in ancient populations than tooth decay. Compared to current industrialized nations, dental wear was well developed in Neolithic populations, as shown in Figure 3C-D. The main reason for this was mechanical abrasion induced by dietary habits. Ancient humans literally wore their teeth down through decades of chewing tough, fibrous foods. But here's the crucial difference. Tooth wear was a gradual, predictable process that ancient humans could live with. Modern tooth decay is a rapid, destructive process that can destroy teeth in years or even months. Ancient humans might slowly wear their teeth down over decades, but the teeth remained structurally sound and functional. modern humans can lose teeth to decay, despite having barely worn them down at all. Evidence suggests that ancient humans also used their teeth as tools more frequently than we do today. Non-masticatory labial striations on human anterior teeth are a form of cultural dental wear well recorded throughout the Pleistocene, which has been interpreted as resulting from the use of the mouth as a third hand when processing different materials during daily activities. This tool use created distinctive wear patterns that archaeologists can identify, showing that ancient humans regularly used their teeth for tasks like processing plant fibers, working leather, and manipulating small objects. Despite this additional mechanical stress, their teeth remained healthy because the underlying oral ecosystem was so robust. The story of ancient dental health becomes even more fascinating when we consider the earliest evidence of dental treatment. Here, we report the earliest evidence of dental caries intervention on a late Upper Paleolithic modern human specimen, Villa Bruna, from a burial in northern Italy. This 14,000-year-old specimen shows evidence of someone attempting to treat a large cavity, suggesting that even ancient humans occasionally needed dental intervention. But the rarity of such evidence is telling. Prehistoric dental treatments were extremely rare, and the few documented cases are known from the Neolithic, when the adoption of early farming culture caused an increase of carious lesions. The need for dental treatment emerged primarily after the agricultural revolution, not before it. Now let's explore what changed when humans began farming and why this transition so dramatically undermined the natural dental health our species had enjoyed for hundreds of thousands of years. The agricultural revolution wasn't just about growing crops. It fundamentally altered every aspect of human biology, including oral health. The most obvious change was dietary composition. Farming introduced high-carbohydrate staples like grains, legumes, and root vegetables that became the foundation of human diets. These foods were very different from the varied fibrous foods that had characterized hunter-gatherer diets. Grains in particular presented new challenges for oral health. When humans began processing grains into flour and consuming bread, porridge, and other grain-based foods, they introduced sticky, carbohydrate-rich substances that adhered to teeth in ways that previous foods hadn't. These processed carbohydrates provided ideal fuel for cavity-causing bacteria, allowing their populations to explode in ways that hadn't been possible with traditional hunter-gatherer diets. The texture of agricultural foods also reduced the natural cleaning action that had maintained healthy teeth for millennia. Soft, processed foods required less chewing and provided less mechanical cleaning action. Saliva production decreased without the constant stimulation of tough, fibrous foods, reducing the mouth's natural self-cleaning capabilities. But the changes went deeper than just food composition. Agriculture created the first human populations dense enough to support the rapid transmission of oral pathogens. Hunter-gatherer bands were small and relatively isolated, limiting the spread of harmful bacteria between individuals. Agricultural settlements brought hundreds or thousands of people into close contact, creating ideal conditions for the evolution and spread of more virulent oral pathogens. The seasonal dietary variation that had maintained oral microbiome diversity largely disappeared with agriculture. Instead of eating different foods throughout the year based on natural availability, farmers began eating the same staple crops year-round. This consistency allowed specific harmful bacteria to establish permanent dominance in human mouths. Food storage and processing techniques further altered the oral health equation. Fermented foods, while beneficial for gut health, often contained acids that could erode tooth enamel. Cooking methods that created softer foods reduced the natural tooth cleaning that had occurred with raw or minimally processed foods. The addition of salt and other preservatives created new chemical environments in the mouth. Perhaps most significantly, agriculture created the first truly sticky, sweet foods that humans had regular access to. Honey became more available through beekeeping, and the processing of certain crops created concentrated sweet substances that were unlike anything in the natural hunter-gatherer diet. These foods provided unprecedented fuel for harmful bacteria and created oral environments that actively promoted tooth decay. The archaeological record documents this transition with remarkable clarity. Early farming communities showed dramatic increases in dental disease within just a few generations of adopting agriculture. The changes were so rapid and pronounced that they represent one of the clearest examples of how quickly human health can change in response to environmental shifts. But the story doesn't end with the agricultural revolution. Human oral health continued to deteriorate as food processing became more sophisticated. The Industrial Revolution brought even more dramatic changes that further undermined natural dental health mechanisms. The addition of flour and sugar to modern diets may have set the stage for oral disease during the Industrial Revolution around 1850. Refined flour and processed sugar became widely available for the first time in human history, creating oral environments that were even more hostile to dental health than early agricultural foods. These industrial foods were not only high in simple carbohydrates that fed harmful bacteria, they were also soft and sticky in ways that maximized their ability to adhere to teeth. Refined sugar in particular created perfect conditions for rapid bacterial growth and acid production, leading to cavities that could develop in months rather than years. The Industrial Revolution also introduced new preservation and processing techniques that further altered food chemistry. Canned foods, processed meats, and artificial additives created novel chemical environments in human mouths that our oral microbiomes had never encountered before. Modern processed foods often contain acids that directly erode tooth enamel, bypassing the bacterial processes that cause traditional cavities. Soft drinks, fruit juices, and processed foods with added citric acid create acidic conditions that can dissolve tooth enamel, even in the absence of harmful bacteria. The texture and composition of modern foods has also virtually eliminated the natural tooth cleaning that characterized traditional diets. Most modern foods require minimal chewing and provide little or no abrasive action to clean tooth surfaces. We've essentially removed the natural toothbrush effect that had maintained human dental health for hundreds of thousands of years. But perhaps the most significant change has been the frequency of eating. Hunter-gatherers typically ate large meals with extended periods between eating, allowing saliva to neutralize acids and remineralize teeth between meals. Modern humans eat constantly throughout the day, creating persistent acidic conditions that prevent natural tooth repair processes. The combination of frequent eating processed foods high in simple carbohydrates and soft textures that don't stimulate natural cleaning has created oral environments that are fundamentally incompatible with the natural dental health mechanisms our species evolved. This helps explain why, despite having access to toothbrushes, toothpaste, dental floss, and professional dental care, modern humans still experience widespread dental problems. We're trying to artificially maintain oral health in environments that are actively hostile to the natural processes that kept ancient teeth healthy. Understanding this history raises an important question. What can we learn from ancient dental health to improve our own? While we can't completely return to hunter-gatherer lifestyles, there are principles from ancient dental health that we can apply in modern contexts. The first and most important lesson is about food texture and mechanical cleaning. While we don't need to return to eating exclusively raw, tough foods, incorporating more fibrous vegetables, nuts, and fruits that require extensive chewing can help restore some of the natural cleaning action that modern diets have eliminated. Ancient humans ate foods that naturally cleaned their teeth with every meal. We can partially recreate this by choosing crunchy vegetables, firm fruits, and nuts that provide mechanical cleaning action. These foods stimulate saliva production and help scrape away food particles and plaque just as they did for our ancestors. The frequency and timing of eating also matter enormously. Ancient humans typically had distinct meal periods separated by hours of not eating, allowing their mouth chemistry to return to neutral between meals. Modern snacking patterns create constantly acidic oral environments that prevent natural remineralization. Creating eating patterns that allow for extended periods without food consumption gives saliva time to neutralize acids, clear away food particles, and remineralize teeth. This doesn't mean starving, but rather being more intentional about when and how often we eat. The diversity of the oral microbiome was crucial for ancient dental health. Modern processed foods and frequent antibiotic use have dramatically reduced the diversity of bacteria in human mouths, often allowing harmful species to dominate. Consuming fermented foods, avoiding unnecessary antibiotics, and maintaining overall gut health can help support oral microbiome diversity. Saliva production was much higher in ancient humans due to the constant chewing required by their diets. We can support healthy saliva production by chewing more thoroughly, staying hydrated, and choosing foods that require extended chewing rather than processed foods that can be quickly swallowed. The pH balance of ancient mouths was naturally maintained through dietary choices. We can support healthy oral pH by limiting acidic foods and drinks, avoiding frequent consumption of sugary substances, and choosing foods that help neutralize mouth acids rather than create them. It's also worth noting that some traditional tooth cleaning methods from various cultures around the world preserved elements of ancient dental care. Chewing on these sticks helped in cleaning teeth and freshening breath, referring to traditional chew sticks that many cultures still use today. These traditional practices often incorporated plants with natural antibacterial properties, providing chemical cleaning in addition to mechanical cleaning. While modern toothbrushes and toothpaste are more effective for most people, understanding these traditional approaches can provide insights into natural oral care. The seasonal variation that characterized ancient diets also provided dental benefits. While we can't completely recreate seasonal eating patterns in our globalized food system, varying our diets throughout the year and including seasonal foods can help prevent any single harmful bacteria from becoming dominant. But here's what's crucial to understand. We cannot completely abandon modern dental care and expect to achieve ancient levels of dental health. Our food environment is too different. Our bacterial exposures are too varied, and our lifestyles create challenges that ancient humans never faced. The goal isn't to replace modern dental care, but to understand and restore some of the natural processes that supported dental health for hundreds of thousands of years. This means combining the best of ancient wisdom with modern knowledge and tools. Modern dental hygiene practices like brushing and flossing are necessary compensations for the unnatural oral environments we've created through processed foods and constant eating. They're artificial replacements for natural cleaning processes that modern lifestyles have eliminated. Professional dental care is essential for detecting and treating problems that natural processes can't handle in modern environments. Regular cleanings, fluoride treatments, and preventive care provide protections that weren't necessary for ancient humans but are crucial for us. The key insight is that dental health is fundamentally about creating oral environments that support beneficial processes and discourage harmful ones. Ancient humans achieved this naturally through their lifestyles and diets. Modern humans need to be more intentional about creating these conditions artificially. This might involve choosing foods that provide natural cleaning action, timing meals to allow for oral recovery, maintaining diverse oral microbiomes, and supporting natural saliva production, while also using modern tools like toothbrushes and professional dental care to compensate for the challenges created by modern environments. As we reflect on the remarkable story of ancient dental health, several profound lessons emerge that extend far beyond just teeth and oral care. The history of human dental health provides a window into understanding how rapid environmental changes can affect human biology and how traditional practices often contained wisdom that modern science is only beginning to appreciate. The dramatic shift from healthy to problematic teeth that occurred with agriculture represents one of the clearest examples in human history of how quickly health outcomes can change when environments shift faster than biology can adapt. This pattern has repeated throughout human history as technological advances have outpaced biological adaptation. The Industrial Revolution further accelerated this process, creating food environments that are even more removed from those our species evolved to thrive in. Today's processed food landscape represents the culmination of this trend, creating oral environments that are fundamentally incompatible with natural dental health mechanisms. But the story also demonstrates human adaptability and the potential for positive change. While we cannot return to hunter-gatherer lifestyles, understanding the principles that supported ancient dental health provides a roadmap for improving modern oral health outcomes. The key insight is that health often emerges from systems and environments rather than from individual interventions. Ancient humans didn't maintain healthy teeth through conscious dental care practices, but through lifestyles and diets that naturally supported oral health. Modern dental care often focuses on treating problems rather than creating conditions that prevent them. This systemic approach to health has applications far beyond dental care. Many modern health challenges may be better addressed by understanding and recreating the environmental conditions that naturally supported human health for hundreds of thousands of years, rather than relying exclusively on medical interventions to treat problems after they develop. The story of ancient teeth also highlights the importance of evolutionary thinking in understanding health. Human biology evolved over hundreds of thousands of years in specific environments. When those environments change rapidly, as they have with agriculture and industrialization, health problems often emerge because our biology hasn't had time to adapt to new conditions. This doesn't mean that all traditional practices are superior to modern ones, but it does suggest that traditional approaches often contained elements that supported natural biological processes in ways that purely technological solutions might not. The most effective modern approaches often combine traditional wisdom with scientific understanding and technological tools. The rapid changes in human dental health also demonstrate how interconnected different aspects of health can be. Dental health affects nutrition, which affects overall health. Oral infections can contribute to systemic diseases. The bacteria in our mouths influence the bacteria in our guts, which affect immune function and mental health. Ancient humans lived in environments where these interconnections naturally supported overall health. Modern humans often need to be more conscious about creating conditions that support these natural relationships between different aspects of health and biology. Looking toward the future, the lessons from ancient dental health suggest that the most sustainable approaches to human health may involve understanding and working with natural biological processes, rather than simply trying to overcome them with technology. This doesn't mean rejecting modern medicine or technology, but rather integrating them with approaches that support natural health processes. In dental care, this might mean combining modern preventive treatments with dietary and lifestyle practices that create naturally healthy oral environments. The story of ancient teeth reminds us that human health challenges often have deep historical roots, and that solutions may require understanding not just current conditions, but also the evolutionary and historical contexts that shaped human biology. Sometimes, the most advanced approach is one that combines cutting-edge science with ancient wisdom about how to live in harmony with human biology. As we face modern health challenges from obesity to autoimmune diseases to mental health issues, the principles that emerge from studying ancient dental health may provide insights that extend far beyond oral care, creating environments that support natural biological processes, understanding the importance of diversity in human microbiomes, recognizing the health impacts of food processing and eating patterns, and maintaining connections to traditional practices may all be crucial elements of modern health solutions. The teeth of our ancestors tell a story that is ultimately about adaptation, change, and the complex relationships between human biology and environment. It's a story that reminds us that health is not just about individual choices or medical treatments, but about creating conditions that allow natural health processes to flourish. In the end, the remarkable dental health of ancient humans wasn't just about their teeth. It was about their entire way of life, their relationship with their environment, and their integration with natural systems that had supported human health for hundreds of thousands of years. While we cannot and would not want to return completely to ancient lifestyles, we can learn from the principles that made them so successful and apply those insights to creating healthier lives in our modern world. The story of ancient teeth is ultimately a story about human potential, about the remarkable adaptability of our species, and about the wisdom that can be found in understanding our deep history. It reminds us that sometimes the path forward requires looking backward, and that the solutions to modern problems may be found in ancient wisdom combined with contemporary knowledge and tools. As you drift off to sleep tonight, perhaps you can imagine what it might have been like to live with naturally healthy teeth in harmony with the biological systems that supported human health for hundreds of thousands of years. While we face different challenges today, the underlying principles of creating environments that support natural health processes remain just as relevant now as they were for our ancient ancestors. Their legacy lives on not just in our teeth, but in our understanding of what it means to live in harmony with human biology. Imagine a world 2.8 million years ago where Africa was a continent of endless savannas, where giant hyenas prowled the grasslands, and where a revolutionary species was about to change the course of life on Earth forever. Not modern humans like us, but the first members of our own genus, beings who would pioneer the use of stone tools, expand their brains beyond anything seen before, and set in motion the chain of innovations that would eventually lead to cities, agriculture, and space travel. Their story isn't just about survival. It's about the moment our lineage first transcended the limitations of biology and began the long journey toward becoming truly human. Meet Homo habilis, the handy man. If you're using this to fall asleep, that's literally why I make these. So subscribe maybe and tell me where you are and what time. I check comments, and it's always fun to see where everyone is watching from. What makes the Homo habilis story so extraordinary? They were the first species in human evolution to systematically manufacture stone tools, the first to show significant brain expansion beyond ape-level intelligence, and possibly the first to engage in food sharing and cooperative behaviors that would define human society. For over 1 million years, from 2.8 to 1.65 million years ago, these remarkable beings lived across eastern and southern Africa, slowly developing the technologies and behaviors that would distinguish the human lineage forever. I'm about to take you on a journey through deep time to discover how these ancient pioneers lived, what they looked like, how they thought, and why they represent one of the most crucial transitions in the story of life on Earth. You'll learn why many scientists consider Homo habilis to be the first true humans, despite their small brains and ape-like bodies. They were the species that first crossed the threshold from animal to human, from instinct-driven behavior to cultural innovation. Here's something that will reshape how you think about human evolution. Recent discoveries have revealed that Homo habilis wasn't just making simple stone tools. They were creating implements with standardized designs, using techniques that required years to master, and possibly even teaching these skills to their offspring through methods that resembled primitive forms of education. This represents the birth of cumulative culture, the uniquely human ability to build upon previous generations' innovations rather than starting from scratch with each new generation. Let's put their incredible significance in perspective. Homo habilis appeared around 2.8 million years ago during a period of dramatic climate change that was transforming Africa's landscapes. As forests shrank and grasslands expanded, these early humans were among the first primates to adapt, not through biological evolution alone, but through technological innovation. They invented solutions to environmental challenges rather than waiting for natural selection to provide them. The discovery of Homo habilis fundamentally changed our understanding of human evolution. When Louis Leakey first announced the species in 1964 based on fossils found at Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania, it challenged the prevailing view that brain enlargement preceded tool use in human evolution. Here was clear evidence of a species with a relatively small brain, about 600 cubic centimeters, roughly twice the size of a chimpanzee, that was nonetheless capable of sophisticated tool manufacture and use. This discovery sparked what became known as man the tool maker hypothesis, the idea that tool use was the driving force behind human evolution. The ability to create and use tools provided such significant survival advantages that it created evolutionary pressure for larger brains, better hand-eye coordination, and more sophisticated social behaviors. Homo habilis represented the first step in this uniquely human evolutionary trajectory. But recent discoveries have revealed that the story is far more complex than early researchers imagined. In 2015, archaeologists working in Kenya announced the discovery of stone tools dating to 3.3 million years ago, over 500,000 years before the first known Homo habilis fossils. These tools, found at a site called Lomekwi 3, suggested that tool use might have preceded the evolution of our genus entirely, possibly originating with earlier species like Australopithecus afarensis. However, these earlier tools are markedly different from those associated with Homo habilis. The Lomekwi tools are large, crude implements created by smashing rocks together with little apparent planning or standardization. In contrast, Homo habilis tools show clear evidence of systematic design, careful selection of raw materials, and manufacturing techniques that required considerable skill and foresight. The difference is so significant that many researchers now draw a distinction between simple tool use, which may have characterized earlier hominins, and true tool manufacture, which appears to have originated with Homo habilis. This distinction reflects not just improved manual dexterity, but a fundamental cognitive leap, the ability to envision a desired end product and work systematically toward creating it. Homo habilis tools, known as the Oldowan industry, represent humanity's first standardized technology. These weren't random modifications of natural objects, but carefully planned implements created according to consistent design principles. The process of making an Oldowan tool required selecting appropriate raw materials, understanding the fracture properties of different stone types, and executing precise sequences of strikes to create sharp edges and functional forms. Archaeological experiments have revealed just how sophisticated this process was. Modern researchers, even with detailed knowledge of Oldowan techniques, require extensive practice to achieve the level of consistency and efficiency evident in ancient tool assemblages. The learning curve is steep, suggesting that Homo habilis had developed methods for transmitting complex technical knowledge between individuals and across generations. Recent analysis of wear patterns on Homo habilis tools has revealed the remarkable diversity of their applications. These early humans were using stone implements to butcher animals, process plant materials, scrape hides, work wood, and possibly even dig for underground resources like tubers and water. This technological versatility provided enormous advantages in the challenging environments of Pliocene Africa. But perhaps, most significantly, Homo habilis appears to have been the first species to transport tools over significant distances. Archaeological sites contain tools made from raw materials that originated dozens of kilometers away, indicating that these early humans were either traveling considerable distances to obtain good stone or had developed trade networks for exchanging materials between groups. This represents a level of planning and social organization unprecedented in the natural world. The physical characteristics of Homo habilis reflect their transitional position in human evolution. They retained many ape-like features while also showing the first clear adaptations toward a more human-like body plan. With an average height of about 3 feet 3 inches to 4 feet 3 inches and weights ranging from 70 to 100 pounds, they were small by modern standards, but significantly larger than their Australopithecine predecessors. Their skulls show the first clear expansion of brain size in the human lineage. While still small compared to modern humans, Homo habilis brains averaged about 600 cubic centimeters, representing a 50% increase over earlier hominins. This expansion wasn't uniform across the brain, but was concentrated in areas associated with tool use, spatial reasoning, and possibly even primitive language capabilities. The shape of Homo habilis skulls also shows important changes from earlier species. The face was less projecting, with smaller teeth and jaws that suggest a shift in dietary habits. The reduction in jaw size may have been related to their use of tools for food processing, reducing the need for powerful chewing muscles and allowing for the expansion of the brain case. Their hands represent one of the most significant evolutionary innovations in the human lineage. Homo habilis possessed precision grip capabilities that allowed for the fine motor control necessary for tool manufacture. Their thumbs were longer and more opposable than those of earlier hominins, and their fingertips showed expanded areas of tactile sensitivity that would have provided crucial feedback during tool-making activities. Analysis of hand bones from sites like Olduvai Gorge reveals a remarkable combination of features. Homo habilis hands were capable of both the precision grips necessary for delicate tool work and the power grips needed for wielding tools forcefully. This versatility represented a crucial adaptation that enabled the full exploitation of stone tool technology. Recent biomechanical analysis has revealed that Homo habilis hands were specifically adapted for the repetitive motions involved in stone tool manufacture. The bones show stress patterns consistent with repeated percussion activities, and the muscle attachment points suggest unusually powerful grip strength. These weren't just general-purpose primate hands, but specialized instruments evolved specifically for technological manipulation. The locomotion of Homo habilis remains somewhat controversial among researchers. They retained long arms and curved fingers that suggest continued adaptation for climbing, indicating they likely spent considerable time in trees. However, their leg bones show clear adaptations for bipedal walking, including changes in hip structure and knee orientation that improved efficiency for ground travel. This combination of arboreal and terrestrial adaptations suggests that Homo habilis occupied a unique ecological niche. They were capable of traveling efficiently across open landscapes while still maintaining access to the safety and resources available in woodland environments. This flexibility would have been crucial during the period of dramatic environmental change that characterized their existence. Recent discoveries have also revealed evidence of sexual dimorphism in Homo habilis, with males being significantly larger than females. This pattern suggests social structures that may have included male competition for mates, and possibly even primitive forms of resource sharing between pair-bonded individuals. The implications for early human social behavior are profound and continue to be actively researched. The dietary habits of Homo habilis represent another crucial transition in human evolution. Unlike earlier hominins, who were primarily vegetarian, Homo habilis shows clear evidence of meat consumption and the use of tools for processing animal carcasses. Cut marks on fossil bones found alongside Homo habilis remains provide direct evidence of butchering activities that would have required sophisticated coordination and planning. However, the extent to which Homo habilis was actively hunting versus scavenging remains debated. Some researchers argue that their small body size and lack of clearly defensive adaptations suggest they were primarily scavengers, using their stone tools to access bone marrow and other nutritious materials from carcasses left by large predators. Others point to evidence of systematic butchering patterns that suggest at least some active hunting of smaller animals. Recent isotope analysis of Homo habilis teeth has provided new insights into their dietary patterns. The chemical signatures preserved in fossil dental enamel suggest a diet that varied significantly based on environmental conditions and seasonal resource availability. During dry periods, Homo habilis appears to have relied more heavily on underground storage organs like tubers, while wet periods saw increased consumption of above-ground plant materials and possibly more frequent access to animal proteins. This dietary flexibility, enabled by their tool technology, provided crucial advantages during the unstable climate conditions of the Pliocene. Rather than being locked into narrow ecological niches like most other primate species, Homo habilis could adapt their subsistence strategies to changing environmental conditions. This flexibility may have been one of the key factors in their evolutionary success. The social behavior of Homo habilis represents another area where they appear to have crossed crucial thresholds toward truly human patterns of interaction. Archaeological evidence suggests they were engaging in food-sharing behaviors that required sophisticated social coordination and possibly even primitive forms of reciprocity and exchange. Sites like FLK Zinj at Olduvai Gorge preserve what appear to be living floors, where Homo habilis individuals brought tools, processed food, and shared resources in ways that suggest group coordination beyond anything seen in other primates. The spatial organization of these sites implies that different activities were carried out in designated areas, possibly indicating the beginnings of the human pattern of creating specialized activity zones within living spaces. Recent analysis of these archaeological sites has revealed evidence of what researchers call central place foraging, the practice of bringing resources back to a home base for processing and sharing rather than consuming them where they were found. This behavioral pattern requires sophisticated planning abilities and social coordination that represents a significant departure from typical primate foraging strategies. The implications of central place foraging for early human evolution are enormous. This strategy would have encouraged the development of food-sharing networks, division of labor between group members, and potentially even primitive forms of specialization, where different individuals focused on different types of resource procurement. These behavioral innovations laid the groundwork for the complex social structures that would characterize later human evolution. Evidence from sites like Olduvai Gorge also suggests that Homo habilis may have been constructing simple shelters or windbreaks. Circular arrangements of stones found at several sites may represent the foundations of primitive structures designed to provide protection from weather and predators. While these constructions were far simpler than the elaborate shelters built by later human species, they represent the first evidence of environmental modification for comfort and safety, rather than simple resource procurement. The cognitive capabilities of Homo habilis continue to be actively researched and debated among scientists. Their relatively small brain size suggests that their mental capabilities were still quite limited compared to later human species, but their sophisticated tool technologies and social behaviors indicate cognitive abilities that significantly exceeded those of other primates. Recent analysis of Oldowan tool assemblages has revealed evidence of what researchers call technological traditions, consistent patterns of tool manufacture that persisted over long periods and across wide geographic areas. The maintenance of these traditions required not just individual tool-making skills, but also effective methods for transmitting knowledge between individuals and across generations. This cultural transmission represents one of the most significant innovations in the history of life on Earth. While other animals use tools and some even modify them for specific purposes, Homo habilis was the first species to develop cumulative cultural traditions where innovations could be preserved, refined, and passed down through generations. This ability to build upon previous knowledge rather than starting from scratch represents the foundation of all subsequent human technological development. Studies of modern tool-making traditions in hunter-gatherer societies have revealed just how complex the knowledge systems underlying even simple stone tool technologies can be. Effective tool manufacture requires understanding of raw material properties, fracture mechanics, functional design principles, and often sophisticated knowledge of local geology for finding appropriate stone sources. The fact that Homo habilis developed and maintained Such knowledge systems, with brains less than half the size of modern humans, suggests remarkable cognitive efficiency. Some researchers have proposed that Homo habilis may have possessed primitive forms of language or at least sophisticated gestural communication systems. The coordination required for group tool-making activities, the transmission of technical knowledge, and the complex social behaviors evident in the archaeological record would have benefited enormously from enhanced communication capabilities. Analysis of Homo habilis skull anatomy has revealed some intriguing hints about their communication abilities. The areas of the brain associated with hand control and vocalization show expansion compared to earlier hominins, possibly indicating the development of more sophisticated motor control systems that could have supported both tool use and communication. However, the evidence remains circumstantial, and the extent of Homo habilis communication capabilities remains unknown. The geographic distribution of Homo habilis provides important insights into their adaptive capabilities and dispersal patterns. Fossils have been found across eastern and southern Africa, from sites in Kenya and Tanzania to locations in South Africa over 2,000 kilometers away. This wide distribution suggests that Homo habilis was capable of adapting to diverse environmental conditions and establishing viable populations across a range of habitats. Recent dating of Homo habilis sites has revealed that the species persisted for over 1 million years, from approximately 2.8 to 1.65 million years ago. This remarkable longevity indicates that their adaptive strategies were highly successful for the environmental conditions of Pliocene and early Pleistocene Africa. They successfully navigated multiple climate cycles and environmental changes that eliminated many other species. The end of the Homo habilis lineage coincides with the appearance of more advanced human species like Homo erectus, who possessed larger brains, more sophisticated tool technologies, and eventually expanded beyond Africa to colonize other continents. However, rather than being simply replaced by superior competitors, current evidence suggests that Homo habilis may have been ancestral to these later species, contributing directly to the ongoing evolution of the human lineage. Recent fossil discoveries have complicated our understanding of early human evolution by revealing that multiple human-like species coexisted during the time period when Homo habilis lived. Species like Australopithecus garhi, Homo rudolfensis, and early Homo erectus all show evidence of overlapping geographic ranges and time periods, suggesting that early human evolution was characterized by a complex adaptive radiation rather than simple linear progression. This pattern of multiple coexisting species raises fascinating questions about interactions between different human lineages. Did they compete for resources? Did they interbreed? Did they share technological innovations? While direct evidence for such interactions is limited, the archaeological record shows clear evolution and diversification of tool technologies during this period, suggesting that innovation and cultural exchange may have been accelerated by contact between different human populations. The tool technologies associated with Homo habilis show clear evolutionary development over time. Early Oldowan assemblages are relatively simple and show considerable variation in manufacturing techniques. Later assemblages show increasing standardization and sophistication, with more efficient manufacturing methods and more specialized tool types. This technological evolution parallels the biological evolution evident in the fossil record and suggests coevolution between cognitive capabilities and technological complexity. One of the most intriguing aspects of Homo habilis evolution is the apparent acceleration of both biological and cultural change during their existence. The rate of brain expansion during the Homo habilis time period exceeds that of any other period in human evolution, while simultaneously their tool technologies show rapid innovation and diversification. This suggests that biological and cultural evolution were reinforcing each other in positive feedback loops that accelerated the pace of change. Recent research has focused on understanding the environmental factors that may have driven Homo habilis evolution. The period of their existence was characterized by significant climate variability, with alternating wet and dry cycles that would have created fluctuating resource availability and habitat fragmentation. These challenging conditions may have favored individuals with enhanced cognitive flexibility and technological capabilities, driving the evolution of larger brains and more sophisticated tool use. The variability selection hypothesis proposes that environmental instability was a key driver of human evolution, favoring adaptations that provided flexibility rather than specialization for specific environmental conditions. Homo habilis appears to fit this model perfectly, with their technological capabilities providing adaptive flexibility that allowed them to respond to changing environmental conditions through cultural rather than biological adaptation. Analysis of paleo-environmental data from Homo habilis sites has revealed the remarkable diversity of habitats they occupied. From lakeside environments rich in aquatic resources to woodland savannas with abundant plant and animal foods, Homo habilis demonstrated an ecological versatility that far exceeded that of other contemporary primates. This habitat diversity was made possible by their technological capabilities, which allowed them to exploit resources that would have been inaccessible to other species. The success of Homo habilis in diverse environments also provides insights into their social organization and group dynamics. The ability to establish viable populations across such a wide range of habitats suggests that they possessed effective mechanisms for cultural transmission and social coordination that allowed them to maintain adaptive behaviors even as they expanded into new environments. Recent studies have also examined the role of Homo habilis in the broader ecosystem dynamics of Pliocene Africa. Their tool use and meat processing capabilities may have had significant effects on local ecosystems, potentially influencing predator-prey relationships and nutrient cycling patterns. Some researchers have proposed that early human tool use represents the beginning of significant human environmental impact, though its scales far smaller than those characteristic of later periods. The legacy of Homo habilis extends far beyond their direct contributions to human evolution. They pioneered the technological approach to environmental adaptation that would become the hallmark of the human lineage. Rather than waiting for biological evolution to provide solutions to environmental challenges, they developed the capacity to create cultural solutions that could be implemented within individual lifetimes and transmitted to subsequent generations. This transition from purely biological to biocultural evolution represents one of the most significant transitions in the history of life on Earth. It enabled the human lineage to accelerate adaptive change by orders of magnitude compared to purely biological evolution, eventually leading to the rapid cultural evolution that characterizes modern human societies. The stone tool traditions pioneered by Homo habilis persisted for over 2.5 million years, making them the most enduring technologies in human history. While the specific forms and manufacturing techniques evolved considerably over time, the basic principles of stone tool manufacture established by Homo habilis continued to be used until the development of metal technologies in recent millennia. Recent experimental archaeology has revealed the remarkable efficiency and effectiveness of Oldowan tool technologies. When used by skilled practitioners, these simple stone implements can accomplish a remarkable range of tasks, from butchering large animals to processing tough plant materials to working wood and other organic materials. The technological foundation established by Homo habilis was so effective that it continued to meet human needs for millions of years. The social innovations pioneered by Homo habilis may have been even more significant than their technological achievements. The food-sharing, central place foraging, and cultural transmission systems they developed provided the foundation for the complex social cooperation that would characterize later human evolution. These behavioral innovations enabled the development of increasingly sophisticated societies that could support larger populations and more complex technologies. Modern studies of hunter-gatherer societies have revealed the crucial importance of social cooperation and cultural transmission for human adaptive success. The fact that these systems can be traced back to Homo habilis suggests that the fundamental basis of human sociality was established very early in our evolutionary history and has remained remarkably stable despite enormous changes in technology and environment. The study of Homo habilis continues to provide crucial insights into the nature of human uniqueness and the evolutionary processes that shaped our lineage. As new fossils are discovered and new analytical techniques are developed, our understanding of these remarkable early humans continues to evolve. Recent advances in ancient DNA analysis, isotope geochemistry, and computational modeling promise to provide even more detailed insights into their lives and behaviors. One of the most significant recent developments in Homo habilis research has been the recognition of their role as ecosystem engineers, organisms that modify their environment in ways that affect other species. Through their tool use and resource processing activities, Homo habilis began the process of environmental modification that would eventually lead to the massive human environmental impact characteristic of modern times. The cognitive capabilities that enabled Homo habilis to develop and maintain technological traditions also laid the groundwork for the symbolic thinking and complex communication systems that would characterize later human evolution. While they may not have possessed language in the modern sense, their ability to transmit complex technical knowledge suggests sophisticated information processing and communication capabilities that bridged the gap between animal communication and human language. Recent research has also highlighted the role of Homo habilis in establishing the human pattern of extended childhood and intensive parental investment. The complexity of their tool technologies would have required extended learning periods, possibly leading to delayed maturation and increased dependence on adult care and instruction. This pattern of extended development would have profound implications for brain evolution and social organization in later human species. The remarkable success of Homo habilis over more than 1,000,000 years demonstrates the power of the biocultural adaptive strategy they pioneered. By combining biological evolution with cultural innovation, they achieved levels of adaptive flexibility and environmental mastery that enabled them to thrive through dramatic climate changes and environmental challenges that eliminated many other species. Their legacy lives on not just in the fossil record, but in the fundamental adaptive strategies that continue to characterize human societies today. The combination of technological innovation, social cooperation, and cultural transmission that enabled Homo habilis to thrive in Pliocene Africa provides the foundation for all subsequent human achievements, from agriculture and cities to science and space exploration. As we reflect on the extraordinary journey of Homo habilis, we gain perspective on the deep evolutionary roots of human uniqueness. These remarkable early humans, with their small brains and simple tools, nonetheless crossed crucial thresholds that distinguished the human lineage forever. They were the first to transcend the limitations of biology through technology, the first to develop cumulative cultural traditions, and the first to establish the patterns of social cooperation that would enable all subsequent human achievements. The story of Homo habilis reminds us that human evolution has been characterized not by sudden leaps, but by gradual accumulation of innovations that eventually transformed our lineage in fundamental ways. They may seem primitive by modern standards, but Homo habilis possessed the essential characteristics that define humanity: the ability to innovate, the capacity to share knowledge, and the intelligence to adapt to changing circumstances through cultural rather than biological means. In studying these remarkable ancestors, we gain insights not just into our evolutionary past, but into the fundamental nature of human adaptation and innovation. The challenges they faced and the solutions they developed provide lessons that remain relevant as our own species confronts unprecedented environmental and social challenges in the modern world. The legacy of Homo habilis extends beyond their direct contributions to human evolution to encompass their role as pioneers of the technological approach to environmental adaptation that would eventually transform the planet. They were the first species to demonstrate that intelligence and culture could provide alternatives to biological evolution as mechanisms for environmental adaptation, beginning the process that would eventually lead to human domination of Earth's ecosystems. Their story is ultimately one of innovation, cooperation, and persistence in the face of environmental challenges. For over 1,000,000 years, these remarkable early humans developed and refined the technological and social innovations that would form the foundation of all subsequent human achievement. They were truly the first travelers on the long journey from animal to human, and their legacy continues to shape our species today. Picture this. You're a Neanderthal family huddled around a fire 40,000 years ago, seeking shelter in what seems like the perfect cave. The entrance is defensible, there's fresh water nearby, and the back chambers offer protection from the howling wind. But as your torchlight flickers deeper into the darkness, massive claw marks scar the walls, gouges 4 inches deep carved into solid rock. Then you see them, piles of bones, not deer bones or mammoth remains from successful hunts, human bones cracked open, sucked clean, and somewhere in the black depths of that cave, something that weighs as much as a small car is stirring. You've just discovered why our ancestors didn't sleep well for 300,000 years. If you're using this to fall asleep, that's literally why I make these. So subscribe maybe and tell me where you are and what time. I check comments and enjoy seeing where my viewers are from. Meet the cave bear Ursus spelaeus, a creature so perfectly designed for killing that it turned every promising shelter in Ice Age Europe into a death trap. These weren't just big bears. They were 1,500-pound monsters with skulls the size of coffee tables, claws longer than kitchen knives, and a territorial instinct so fierce they would fight to the death over caves that early humans desperately needed to survive European winters. For over 300,000 years, from the depths of the Ice Age until their extinction 24,000 years ago, cave bears dominated the underground world that humans were trying to colonize. What makes their story so terrifying isn't just their size or strength, it's how they fundamentally shaped human evolution and behavior in ways we're only now beginning to understand. Recent archaeological discoveries have revealed cave sites across Europe where human and cave bear remains tell the same grim story, a 300,000-year war for underground real estate that our ancestors barely survived. I'm about to take you deep into the caves of Ice Age Europe to discover why these massive predators represented humanity's ultimate nightmare scenario. You'll learn how cave bears were engineered by evolution to be perfect cave guardians. Why early humans developed some of their most sophisticated hunting techniques, specifically to kill these beasts, and how the psychological trauma of confronting 1,500-pound monsters in dark spaces may have influenced the development of human art, religion, and social cooperation. Here's something that will chill you. Cave bears didn't just kill humans, they collected them. Archaeological sites across Europe show evidence that cave bears would drag human remains deeper into cave systems, creating underground graveyards where our ancestors' bones accumulated over thousands of years. These weren't feeding sites. They were territorial displays, warnings to any human foolish enough to venture into bear territory. The relationship between cave bears and early humans represents one of the most intense predator-prey dynamics in human evolutionary history. While our ancestors faced many dangerous animals, cave lions, woolly rhinos, giant hyenas, none posed the same existential threat as cave bears. Other predators could be avoided through careful behavior and habitat selection. Cave bears controlled the one resource humans absolutely could not live without in Ice Age Europe: caves. Let's put the scale of this conflict in perspective. Cave bears first appeared around 400,000 years ago and survived until approximately 24,000 years ago, meaning they shared European landscapes with Neanderthals for over 300,000 years, and with early modern humans for at least 20,000 years. During this entire period, obtaining adequate winter shelter meant confronting creatures that could kill a grown human with a single swipe of their paw. The first cave bear fossils were discovered in the 18th century, but it took decades for scientists to realize just how massive these animals were. Early researchers assumed they were simply large brown bears that happened to live in caves. It wasn't until complete skeletons were assembled that the true scale became apparent. Male cave bears averaged 1,200 to 1,500 pounds, 3 times the size of modern European brown bears, with some specimens reaching over 2,000 pounds. Their skulls alone tell a story of evolutionary specialization for violence. Cave bear skulls average 24 inches in length, with massive sagittal crests, bony ridges along the top that anchored jaw muscles so powerful they could crush mammoth bones. Their teeth were a nightmare of evolutionary engineering. Canine teeth over 4 inches long, razor-sharp carnassial blades for shearing meat, and crushing molars capable of pulverizing bones into powder. But perhaps most terrifying were their claws. Cave bear claws averaged 6 to 8 inches in length, curved like scimitars, and sharper than any stone tool early humans could manufacture. These weren't just weapons. They were precision instruments for climbing, digging, and dismembering prey. Experimental archaeology has shown that cave bear claws could penetrate mammoth hide with minimal force and slice through human bone like it was soft wood. The sheer size of cave bears created a physics problem that early humans had never encountered. Most predators that threaten humans are roughly human-sized or smaller, allowing for potential escape through climbing, hiding, or running. Cave bears were so massive that they could reach anything a human could reach, break anything a human could hide behind, and outrun anything a human could flee toward. They eliminated every traditional escape strategy our ancestors had developed. Recent analysis of cave bear bone chemistry has revealed another disturbing aspect of their biology. They weren't primarily herbivorous, as long assumed. Isotope analysis shows that cave bears consumed significant amounts of meat, particularly during the winter months when plant materials were scarce. This means that early humans weren't just competing with cave bears for shelter. They were sharing caves with active predators who viewed them as potential prey. The territorial behavior of cave bears was unlike anything seen in modern bear species. While contemporary bears are generally solitary and avoid confrontation when possible, cave bears appear to have been intensely territorial about specific cave systems. Archaeological evidence suggests they would return to the same caves year after year, generation after generation, creating multi-generational territories that could span centuries. These territorial patterns created a nightmare scenario for early humans. Unlike surface territories that could be avoided or navigated around, cave territories were three-dimensional underground labyrinths where humans could be trapped with no escape routes. Once a human entered a cave bear's territory, they were fighting for their life in the bear's preferred environment. Darkness, confined spaces, and rocky terrain that favored massive claw-equipped predators over agile but smaller humans. The psychological impact of cave bear encounters on early human populations cannot be overstated. Modern psychological research has shown that encounters with large predators in confined spaces trigger some of the most intense fear responses in the human brain. For Ice Age humans who faced these encounters regularly, the psychological trauma would have been profound and lasting. This trauma may have had significant evolutionary consequences. Some researchers have proposed that the intense selection pressure created by cave bear encounters contributed to the development of enhanced human cooperation, communication, and tool-making abilities. Groups that could coordinate effectively to kill cave bears or drive them from caves would have had enormous survival advantages over groups that couldn't. The evidence for human cave bear conflicts is written in stone across Europe. At Drachenloch Cave in Switzerland, archaeologists found the remains of over 30,000 cave bears alongside clear evidence of human occupation, including stone tools embedded in bear bones and human bones showing tooth marks from bear attacks. The pattern repeats at sites across the continent. Wherever there's evidence of long-term human cave occupation, there's also evidence of violent encounters with cave bears. One of the most remarkable discoveries comes from Chauvet Cave in France, where 32,000-year-old cave paintings show detailed depictions of cave bears alongside other Ice Age megafauna. But these aren't respectful artistic tributes. They're detailed anatomical studies that show precise knowledge of cave bear weak points, attack patterns, and killing techniques. These paintings represent some of humanity's earliest technical manuals, instructional guides for surviving encounters with 1,500-pound predators. The hunting techniques early humans developed specifically for cave bears represent some of the most sophisticated predator control strategies in the archaeological record. Unlike other large game that could be hunted in open terrain using persistence, hunting, or coordinated drives, cave bears had to be confronted in their own territory, using tactics specifically adapted to underground warfare. Archaeological evidence from sites like Kesslerloch Cave in Switzerland shows that humans developed specialized weapons for cave bear hunting, including heavy spears with reinforced tips designed to penetrate thick bear hide and massive stone axes capable of delivering killing blows to bear skulls. These weren't general-purpose hunting tools. They were anti-bear weapons systems developed through generations of deadly trial and error. The social coordination required for cave bear hunting would have been extraordinary. Taking down a 1,500-pound predator in a confined space requires precise timing, coordinated movement, and the ability to communicate complex tactical information in high-stress situations. Some researchers have proposed that the demands of cave bear hunting accelerated the development of sophisticated human communication systems, possibly contributing to the evolution of complex language. Recent analysis of cave bear kill sites has revealed the remarkable efficiency of human hunting techniques. At Potočka Cave in Slovenia, researchers found evidence that early humans were systematically hunting cave bears using coordinated group tactics that minimized human casualties while maximizing bear kills. The bone assemblages show evidence of deliberate targeting of specific individuals, primarily adult males during hibernation periods when they were least mobile and most vulnerable. This strategic approach to cave bear hunting demonstrates remarkable ecological knowledge and planning abilities. Early humans had to understand cave bear behavior patterns, identify optimal attack timing, develop specialized weapons and tactics, and coordinate group actions with precision that rivals modern military operations. The cognitive demands of cave bear hunting may have provided crucial selective pressure for enhanced human intelligence and social cooperation. The weapons technology developed for cave bear hunting also influenced broader human technological development. The heavy spears, reinforced axes, and specialized napping techniques developed for anti-bear warfare found applications in hunting other large game and eventually influenced the development of more sophisticated tool industries. In a very real sense, humanity's technological advancement was accelerated by the need to kill cave bears. Cave bears also influenced human settlement patterns in ways that shaped the development of European societies. The distribution of suitable caves across the European landscape was uneven, with some regions offering abundant shelter opportunities, while others provided few options. Cave bear territories further restricted available options, creating demographic bottlenecks that forced early human populations into specific geographic corridors. These settlement constraints may have accelerated cultural exchange and technological diffusion between human populations. Groups forced to share limited cave resources would have had increased opportunities for knowledge sharing, mate exchange, and cultural interaction. Some researchers have proposed that cave bear territories inadvertently created the population densities necessary for rapid cultural evolution during crucial periods of human development. The seasonal behavior of cave bears created additional complications for human survival strategies. Cave bears hibernated during the coldest months, precisely when humans most needed cave shelter. This meant that the safest time to occupy caves was also the time when cave bears were most likely to be present, creating a deadly seasonal conflict that played out across Europe for hundreds of thousands of years. Archaeological evidence suggests that early humans developed sophisticated seasonal strategies for dealing with cave bear occupation cycles. Some sites show evidence of humans using caves during brief periods when bears were absent, rapidly preparing shelters and food stores before bear return cycles. Other sites suggest humans deliberately targeted hibernating bears, using their winter vulnerability as an opportunity to eliminate territorial competitors. The nutritional value of cave bears also made them attractive hunting targets despite the enormous risks involved. A single adult cave bear provided enough meat to feed a human group for weeks, along with valuable fat for energy storage and hide for protection against winter conditions. The bones could be processed into tools, and the massive claws had significant value for tool making and possibly social display purposes. However, the energy costs of cave bear hunting were enormous. The specialized weapons, group coordination, and inevitable casualties made cave bear hunting one of the most expensive subsistence strategies available to early humans. This cost-benefit analysis means that humans only hunted cave bears when the benefits outweighed the risks, primarily when cave shelter was absolutely essential for a group survival. Recent isotope analysis of human remains from cave bear sites has provided insights into the nutritional importance of bear hunting for early European populations. Human bones from these sites show chemical signatures consistent with significant bear meat consumption, suggesting that successful cave bear hunting groups had better nutritional status than groups that couldn't access these resources. The impact of cave bears on human artistic and symbolic development represents one of the most intriguing aspects of this predator-prey relationship. Cave bear imagery appears in some of the earliest known human art, from the detailed paintings at Chauvet to carved figurines found across Europe. These artistic representations show remarkable anatomical accuracy and suggest that cave bears held significant symbolic importance for early human cultures. Some researchers have proposed that cave bears became central figures in early human religious or mythological systems. The association between caves, death, and massive predators may have contributed to the development of underworld mythologies that persist in human cultures today. The psychological impact of confronting death in underground spaces guarded by monstrous creatures may have influenced fundamental aspects of human spiritual development. The ceremonial treatment of cave bear remains at some archaeological sites suggests that early humans developed ritualistic practices around cave bear hunting and cave occupation. At sites like Drachenloch Cave, bear skulls were arranged in deliberate patterns that suggest symbolic significance beyond mere disposal of hunting remains. These arrangements may represent some of humanity's earliest evidence of religious or ceremonial behavior. Modern psychological research has identified cave-like environments as particularly powerful triggers for human fear responses, possibly reflecting deep evolutionary programming related to cave bear encounters. The universal human fear of dark, confined spaces may be a psychological legacy of hundreds of thousands of years of cave bear predation. Our ancestors who were insufficiently afraid of caves didn't survive to pass on their genes. The extinction of cave bears around 24,000 years ago marked a crucial turning point in human European colonization. Suddenly, cave systems that had been death traps for hundreds of thousands of years became available for human occupation without the constant threat of predation. This may have contributed to the rapid expansion of human populations across Europe during the final phases of the last ice age. Recent climate modeling has suggested that cave bear extinction was primarily driven by climate change rather than human hunting pressure. As European forests contracted and plant resources became scarce, cave bears, despite their meat consumption, couldn't adapt quickly enough to changing environmental conditions. Their massive body size, which had been an advantage in territorial conflicts, became a liability when resources became scarce. However, human hunting pressure may have accelerated cave bear extinction by targeting breeding populations and disrupting territorial systems that cave bears depended on for resource management. The combination of climate stress and human predation created an extinction vortex that even these massive predators couldn't escape. The disappearance of cave bears had profound ecological consequences that extended far beyond human-bear interactions. Cave bears had been keystone species in European cave ecosystems for hundreds of thousands of years, influencing everything from nutrient cycling to the distribution of other cave-dwelling species. Their extinction created ecological opportunities that humans were quick to exploit. Post-extinction cave sites show dramatic changes in human occupation patterns. Caves that had been used briefly and sporadically during cave bear periods suddenly show evidence of intensive, long-term human occupation. The elaborate cave art sites like Lascaux and Altamira were only possible after cave bears were no longer defending these underground territories. The technological and social innovations developed for cave bear hunting continued to influence human development long after the bears disappeared. The weapons technologies, group coordination strategies, and territorial management systems developed for anti-bear warfare found applications in hunting other large game, intergroup conflict, and eventually the development of more complex societies. Modern analysis of ancient DNA has revealed that European cave bear populations were more genetically diverse than previously thought, with distinct regional lineages that had evolved specific adaptations to local cave systems and climatic conditions. This diversity meant that early humans faced different cave bear challenges in different regions, leading to the development of regionally specific anti-bear strategies and technologies. The legacy of human cave bear conflicts can still be seen in European archaeological sites today. Caves that served as battlegrounds between humans and bears 30,000 years ago continue to yield evidence of this ancient warfare. Each new discovery adds details to our understanding of what may have been the most intense predator-prey relationship in human evolutionary history. Recent experimental archaeology has attempted to reconstruct the actual mechanics of cave bear hunting using replica weapons and techniques inferred from archaeological evidence. These experiments have revealed just how dangerous and difficult cave bear hunting would have been. Even with sophisticated tools and coordinated group tactics, modern recreations, using trained athletes and professional weapons specialists, have struggled to achieve the kill rates that archaeological evidence suggests were routine for Ice Age humans. The psychological profiles of humans capable of regularly hunting 1,500-pound predators in confined spaces would have been remarkable by modern standards. The combination of physical courage, tactical intelligence, and emotional resilience required for cave bear hunting represents an extreme form of human adaptation that has no modern equivalent. These were not just hunters. They were specialized cave warriors whose entire existence revolved around underground combat. Archaeological evidence suggests that successful cave bear hunters held elevated social status within early human groups. Cave sites often contain elaborate burials of individuals whose remains show evidence of bear-inflicted injuries that healed, suggesting they survived multiple bear encounters. These bear warriors may have been among humanity's first professional specialists, individuals whose expertise in cave bear hunting was so valuable that entire groups organized their activities around supporting these dangerous specialists. The seasonal timing of cave bear hunting required extraordinary knowledge of bear behavior and cave systems. Hunters had to understand hibernation cycles, identify occupied caves through subtle environmental clues, navigate complex underground terrain in near total darkness, and coordinate attacks with split-second timing. The knowledge systems underlying successful cave bear hunting may have been among the most sophisticated information management systems developed by early humans. The tools and weapons used for cave bear hunting show evidence of continuous technological refinement over thousands of years. Early cave bear hunting tools were crude and often ineffective, leading to high casualty rates for human hunters. Over time, weapons became more specialized and effective, with improved hafting techniques, better stone knapping methods, and design innovations specifically optimized for bear anatomy and behavior. The social costs of cave bear hunting extended beyond immediate casualties to include the resources required for caring for injured hunters, replacing lost weapons and equipment, and maintaining the specialized knowledge systems required for successful bear hunting. These costs meant that cave bear hunting was only sustainable for human groups that could maintain sufficient population sizes and resource bases to absorb the inevitable losses. Contemporary accounts from historical periods when large bears still threatened human settlements provide some insight into the psychological impact of living under constant predator threat. European historical records describe communities where bear attacks created permanent states of anxiety and hypervigilance that affected every aspect of daily life. For Ice Age humans facing much larger predators with inferior weapons, these psychological impacts would have been far more severe. The cave bear crisis may have accelerated the development of human technological innovation in ways that extended far beyond hunting weapons. The need to efficiently process bear carcasses led to improvements in cutting tools and butchering techniques. The requirements for cave exploration and navigation drove developments in lighting technology and spatial mapping abilities. The demands of group coordination for bear hunting may have accelerated communication system development and social organization innovations. Modern spelunking and cave exploration provide some insight into the challenges faced by early humans attempting to hunt cave bears in their underground territories. Even with modern equipment, lighting, and safety gear, navigating complex cave systems requires specialized skills and carries significant risks. Ice Age humans attempting the same activities while hunting massive predators with stone tools were operating at the absolute limits of human capability. The extinction of cave bears removed one of the most significant selective pressures in human evolutionary history. For hundreds of thousands of years, the ability to survive cave bear encounters had been a crucial determinant of human reproductive success. The sudden elimination of this pressure may have allowed human populations to develop in directions that would have been impossible, while cave bears remained a constant threat. Recent discoveries of cave art in previously unexplored cave systems suggest that the artistic flowering of Upper Paleolithic Europe may have been directly enabled by cave bear extinction. Many of the most spectacular cave art sites are located deep within cave systems that would have been impassable while defended by territorial cave bears. The artistic renaissance of late Ice Age Europe may have been humanity's first celebration of victory over its most ancient enemy. The story of cave bears and early humans represents one of the most intense interspecies conflicts in Earth's history. For over 300,000 years, two intelligent, adaptable, and highly territorial species fought for control of Europe's cave systems in a war that shaped the evolution of both lineages. Humans developed unprecedented levels of technological sophistication, social coordination, and psychological resilience. Cave bears evolved into some of the most formidable predators ever to inhabit European ecosystems. In the end, human cultural evolution proved more rapid and flexible than cave bear biological adaptation. Climate change created the crisis, but human innovation and persistence secured the victory. The caves of Europe, which had been defended by massive predators for hundreds of thousands of years, finally belonged to humanity. But the cost of that victory was written in scars, broken bones, and traumatic memories that may still influence human psychology today. As we explore the deepest caves of Europe today, equipped with modern lighting and safety equipment, it's difficult to imagine them as battlegrounds where our ancestors fought life and death struggles against creatures that could crush human bones with their jaws. Yet every cave system across Europe tells the same story. Ancient claw marks on stone walls, accumulations of bear and human bones, and the stone tools that early humans dropped while fighting for their lives in the darkness. The legacy of cave bears extends beyond their direct impact on human evolution to encompass their role in shaping the environments that early Europeans inherited. The cave systems that cave bears defended for hundreds of thousands of years became the protected spaces where humans developed some of their most sophisticated technologies and created their most enduring art. In death, cave bears provided humanity with the sheltered workshops where civilization began to take shape. The 24,000-year gap between cave bear extinction and the present day represents less than 1,000 human generations, a brief moment in evolutionary time. Yet, in that short period, humans have transformed from cave-dwelling survivors of Ice Age predation into a global species capable of space travel and genetic engineering. The technological and social innovations pioneered during the Cave Bear Wars provided the foundation for all subsequent human achievement. Perhaps most remarkably, modern humans retain genetic and psychological legacies of our ancestors' struggle against cave bears. Our instinctive fear of dark, enclosed spaces, our tendency to seek elevated sleeping locations, our enhanced ability to coordinate group activities under stress, all may reflect adaptations developed during hundreds of thousands of years of cave warfare against massive predators. The cave bears are gone, but their influence on human evolution continues. Every time we feel uneasy in a dark space, every time we instinctively seek shelter and protection, every time we coordinate with others to face a dangerous challenge, we may be drawing on psychological and behavioral adaptations forged in the depths of European caves during humanity's longest war. In studying the relationship between cave bears and early humans, we gain insights not just into our evolutionary past, but into the fundamental nature of human adaptability and resilience. Our ancestors faced predators that were larger, stronger, and better adapted to the environments humans needed to survive in. Yet, through intelligence, cooperation, and relentless innovation, they not only survived, but ultimately prevailed. That victory came at enormous cost in lives, resources, and psychological trauma that may have influenced human development for hundreds of thousands of years. But it also demonstrated the uniquely human ability to overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges through cultural innovation and social cooperation. The Cave Bear Wars taught humanity that no enemy was too large, no challenge too great, and no environment too hostile to be conquered through intelligence and determination. As we face the challenges of the modern world, the story of humanity's victory over cave bears provides both inspiration and perspective. Our ancestors survived 300,000 years of warfare against perfect killing machines using nothing but stone tools, fire, and extraordinary courage. Whatever challenges we face today, we carry within us the genetic and cultural legacy of the survivors of humanity's ultimate test of survival.